Welcome to Out Loud, a comedy podcast where I talk with queer comedians about identity as well as just talk and shop about the comedy community. I'm your host, Corbin Willmorth, and I'm here because, well, what comedian just doesn't have a podcast nowadays? Welcome to another episode of Out Loud, a queer comedy podcast. I'm your host, Corbin Willmorth, and I am honestly genuinely excited for today's episode. At least I'd be way more excited if there wasn't a train blowing its horn in the background, ruining every fucking take I do of this intro. Goddamn, Jesus Christ. I feel like if you're a stand-up comedian in America today, no matter what level you are, whether you're like one of the highest grossing, like most popular comedians of all time, or you're just like a low-level open micer who's just bombing a bunch of cum jokes at your local Chili's open mic, you know what I mean? You've all heard of the Austin, Texas comedy bubble. And especially if you don't live in Austin, Texas, you probably have this like idea of just what is going on in the Austin, Texas comedy bubble and like just this huge like perception of it. That's at least if you're like me. Some other comics probably just don't give a shit, which fair. But if you've either been living under a rock or you just don't know that much about comedy and you've just picked up this podcast just purely on a whim, I'm just going to give you just a little bit of background. So 2020, mid-pandemic, a lot of comedians and comedian-hosted podcasts had kind of announced that they were making this shift from, you know, your typical Los Angeles, New York comedy area to Texas, as a response to strict pandemic lockdowns, the perception of Texas's low tax rates, and seemingly business-friendly policies, right? One really popular comedian, quote-unquote comedian, and podcast to do this was Joe Rogan of the Joe Rogan Experience. This is like 2020, 2021, where the influx, we'll call it, began. Then around 2021, 2022, Tony Hinchcliffe moves his popular stand-up podcast / show thing, Kill Tony, to the Austin, Texas area. And then this caused a lot of other comedians to move down there, such as Tom Segura and his wife, Christina P. I can't pronounce her last name. But basically, these two events kind of just, like, brought all eyes down onto Austin, Texas. Then in March of 2023, Joe Rogan opened the Comedy Mothership, which is his comedy club. And while Austin, Texas had its own stand-up scene to begin with, much like any other city in the United States, these were kind of like a canon event that just shifted Austin, Texas into becoming this like boom of comedy, like this cute, like a comedy destination to rival that of like Los Angeles and New York, right? Like any up and coming comedian who wanted to make it big but just didn't have the means of moving to either Los Angeles or New York, either because of like monetary restrictions or their belief in politics, saw Austin, Texas as their way of like making it big. Like I'm gonna hit up every open mic in the city. I'm gonna get my chance to be at the Comedy Mothership as much as possible, and then one day I'll be on the Joe Rogan podcast or some other fucking ticket. Like they viewed Austin, Texas as like a meal ticket essentially. This is of course not talking about the comedians who were already there present in Austin, Texas before the whole Joe Rogan bubble began. But that said, if you're like me, who's kind of just wondered what the fuck is going on in Austin, Texas, you might have had an Instagram post pop up in your feed. An Instagram post by one AmyBeth Castleberry.
They call it scoliosis, I call it my backstory. So y'all know what it is, okay? You know, it's the unexplained curvature of the spine. Are you a teacher, ma'am? You probably check kids, right? Yeah, so I was that kid. I had scoliosis. I had the surgery. So I'm built different. Fucking built different. I'm a bionic woman, y'all. Yeah. But like somebody told me one time to get bent, and I was like, I already am. Oh my goodness. But like my my college nickname was A-Rod. And not because I played with a lot of balls, you know what I'm saying?
So, as of the time of recording this little intro, about 10 days ago, Amy put out a post on Instagram that had been viewed by nearly 600,000 people, and in those 10 days has amassed 83.8 thousand likes, 3,008 comments, 4,236 reposts, and 10.6 thousand shares. This post, formatted somewhat as kind of like a scientific journal, says simply, I attended 35 Austin open mics and took notes at 10 on what boys joke about. And if you're like me, this piqued your interest real fucking quick. And if you're also like me, a comedian who has a podcast, you easily saw this as an opportunity to get some insight into what the fuck is going on in Austin, Texas. That post was uploaded on April 29th, and on April 30th at 7:43 a.m. my time, Pacific Standard Time, I reached out to her to see if she could, be interested in sitting down for a podcast. 2 days later, May 2nd, at 8:18 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, she gets back to me. What she says is, hi, Corbin, thank you so much for reaching out and your patience in my response time. I've been overwhelmed by the enormous response in such a short amount of time and wanted to find space to be thoughtful in response. I'd love to be part of your okay. I'm just going to ignore that part because I don't want to, I feel like just me reading that little segment there is like kind of like a breach of privacy. But the point is like, fucking train. But the point is like, that amount of attention from such a small, seemingly small profile in that short amount of time is fucking crazy. And that also showed me that there are a lot of people who have had a lot of similar interest in the Austin comedy scene that I have. Like, this post got the attention of Jasmine Ellis, Michelle Wolf, and Pinky Patel. So you know that this blew the fuck up. But either way, as you heard me say earlier, I reached out to Beth and... Why am I referring to her by her middle fucking name? No, I'm keeping this in. I'm keeping this outtake in. Fuck it. I reached out to Amy and she agreed to sit down and do a podcast with me. And before we get into the interview, which I'm saying because currently Saturday, May 9th at 2:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time when I'm recording this, we have not sat down and had the interview yet. We're going to have it on Tuesday the 12th. I feel like I want to sit through and kind of read out the post and the part 2 that was uploaded to kind of give some preface as to what we are going to be discussing in the interview. And I'm mostly doing this because with the limited time available, we're only going to be able to do one 40-minute session instead of like 2 as I've had with most comedians. I want to make sure that I'm able to devote the interview to further expanding on the post rather than just retreading it. So, as stated, the first original post, 10 images gratefully accompanied by Shania Twain's That Don't Impress Me Much, which I think that's the perfect song choice for this post, starts off with, I attended 35 Austin open mics and took notes at 10 on what boys joke about. 10 nights, 80 plus topic instances, 40 plus distinct topics, one woman taking notes. The number one topic at Austin open mics is not politics, not heartbreak, gay stuff. Every single night. Homophobia, gay jokes, trans panic. Present on all 10 nights. More than any other topic. The open mic is statistically the gayest room in Austin. The boys just don't know it yet. While I may be reading into it a little too much, the line of the open mic is statistically the gayest room in Austin, the boys just don't know it yet, I think really much has to do with the fact that, from what I am aware, Austin, Texas was kind of like the LGBTQ capital of Texas before the Joe Rogan comedy bubble took over. So that kind of it does ring a little bit of truth that there statistically are probably more gay guys in the crowd at an Austin open mic than there are at any other open mic in the country. Gay content plus racism plus masturbation appeared together on 7 out of 10 nights. This is not a coincidence, it's a genre. I named it Anxious Straight Man Comedy. You're welcome. I fucking love that. And if you are to look up the post and see exactly what I'm looking at, you can see that accompanied with this slide are 5 pages of notebook, like 5 notebook pages worth of actual data that was recorded over these open mics. Early in my research, loneliness, healthcare, job loss, intimacy issues. By week 2, gone. Back to racism and masturbation. They got too close to something real and grabbed the nearest gay joke as a life raft. I call this the Vulnerability Vanishing Act. You can watch it happen in real time. Now, this, to me, kind of lends to the idea that, like, straight men are way too reluctant to, like, actually open up about their emotions. And don't get me wrong, I know plenty of queer individuals who are also reluctant to open up about their emotions, but it's mostly prevalent in straight men. And I don't, like, what is it that, like, the moment that they feel themselves feeling an emotion, they're like, oh, fuck no, they just gotta bottle it back up and just go back to the status quo, which is racism and jerking off. Women were the subject of jokes on 6 out of 10 nights. Women performing per night, 1 to 5. 5 if we're lucky. And by lucky, I mean sometimes coordinated. We have a group chat. We don't show up alone because the data does not support it. This is not a This is not a comedy community. It's a buddy system with a mic at the front. That, to me, honestly, kind of breaks my heart a little bit. I don't want to make too much inference before I actually have my interview with Amy, but, like, to me, it's a little heartbreaking to know, at least this is how I'm perceiving this, that, like, women comics don't feel, like, safe enough to go to an open mic unless they have a support system to back them up. Like what the fuck is going on? The open mic is not a place where men are being brave. It's a place where men are being gay about being scared of gay people while a woman in the back takes notes. This has been peer-reviewed. Once again, I would like to save my commentary for the interview, but, yeah, no. Oh my god. The more that people talk about hating gay people, the more gay I think they are. And this is coming from someone who is gay. Like, in the queer space, we have a term that we like to call internalized homophobia, which is what we use to refer to people who we believe are using rampant homophobia as an outlet to not express the feelings and have the realization that they themselves are a homosexual. It's kind of like what happened with Tyler, the Creator, like how his first 2 albums were, like, so fucking homophobic, and then Flower Boy came out and he's like, I'm gay, like that is my prime example of what internalized homophobia is. But now let's move on to part 2 of this post, which was posted 3 days ago. I can't get an exact date because Instagram's being stupid. I want to say it was on the 6th, but it could have been the 5th because I don't know what time it was posted and when the Instagram ticker clicks off. But anyway, so part 2 of the post starts as follows. It's just a joke is no longer valid, and there's research for why. 515,000 people saw my open mic research last week. The most common pushback, I was accused of policing and told women aren't funny. I dug deeper. Here's what the science says about what happens when a room full of people laughs at the same thing every single night. I guess the first piece of commentary I have to say about that is women aren't funny. Bull fucking shit. Taylor Tomlinson, Kelsey Cook, Fortune Feimster, Tig Notaro, Wanda Sykes, Jordan Jansen. Right there, I just listed 5 women comics off the top of my fucking head who are easily some of the funniest people in the goddamn industry. In fact, if we wanted to look at my local Spokane scene, 3 more comics: Brittany Holden, Jenny Watson, MJ. She just goes by MJ. It's kind of like a little mononym that she goes by, but that's besides the point. Either way, 3 more insanely fucking women. 3 more insanely fucking women. 3 more insanely fucking funny women. What the fuck? It is 2:50 in the morning. I'm tired, but I can't sleep. So, fuck it. Anyway, back to the Instagram post. If we slide over to the next image. The joke is not neutral. It is permission. Researchers call it the prejudice releasing function. When people hear a disparaging joke, whether about women, gay people, or any marginalized group, it creates what scientists call a normative climate of tolerance. To spell it out, it tells the room what is acceptable to believe and do. 3 separate experiments confirmed that exposure to sexist humor increases tolerance of sex discrimination, specifically in men who already hold sexist beliefs. And there's actually a source on this. Let's see. Source: Ford TE 2000, Effects of Sexist Humor on Tolerance of Sexist Events, Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin, Ford TE et al. 2008, More Than Just a Joke, The Prejudice Releasing Function of Sexist Humor, Personality and Social Function Bulletin. Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin, excuse me. Like, there is a source to back this up, which shows that there is scientific data behind this. Women are 50% of the audience. We are not 50% of the stage. My research found that 1 to 5 women perform at Austin open mics per night. 5 if we were lucky and it was potentially coordinated. This is not an Austin problem. It is a widespread problem, and the numbers prove it. 26% of professional stand-up comedians are women. 20% female performers at one of New York's most prestigious comedy clubs as recently as 2014. And 20% of Netflix stand-up specials as of 2016 featured female comics. And then this had the same cited source as the last one. Though that said, and this is just me being just slightly nitpicky here, I do wonder, because the sources that are at the bottom of this image are dated 2000 and 2008, and the statistics you're showing are from 2014 and 2016. This is just me personally asking. I would like to see the sources on that. I'm not saying that I don't believe it and I don't think it's true. I just want to see the sources just personally. And this is just more of the former journalism student coming out in me and not me trying to hate on this. Because I'm absolutely not hating on this post. This is a terrific fucking post. Scientists call it precarious manhood. I called it anxious straight man comedy. We were both right. Researchers at Western California University found that when heterosexual men feel their masculinity is being threatened, the men most rigid about gender roles are significantly more likely to reach for sexist and anti-gay humor, not other kinds of humor, specifically those two. They do it because they believe it reaffirms their masculinity, and they admitted it in the study. Quote, sexist and anti-gay humor serve a self-affirming function for men who feel their masculinity is under threat, quoted from Western Carolina. Wait, did I say Western California University earlier? I meant to say Western Carolina University. Fuck, I'm tired. The gay jokes at open mics are not about gay people. They are about straight men trying to prove something to other straight men in a dark room alone together. My data showed gay content all 10 nights. The science shows why. And this also actually has a source. Source, Willer R. et al. 2017. Restoring Threatened Masculinity. The Appeal of Sexist and Anti-Gay Humor. ResearchGate / Western Carolina University study confirmed across 2 independent experiments. What's permissible on stage persists off stage. 1 in 5 hate crimes in the United States is now motivated by anti-LGBTQ plus bias, 2 years in a row, backed by FBI data. LGBTQ plus people experience violent hate crimes at 9 times the rate of non-LGBTQ people via the Williams Institute. The Human Rights Campaign has declared a state of emergency for LGBTQ people in the United States that is still in effect. Language that normalizes contempt for gay people does not stay in the room. Rhetoric and normalized language directly precede increases in hate-motivated incidents. Sources: FBI Annual Hate Crime Data 2023, Williams Institute Anti-LGBT Victimization in the United States 2025, Human Rights Campaign State of Emergency Declaration 2023, still active. 518,000 people reached. 8,300 individual sends. The data already knew. The open mic is where comedians learn what works, gets laughs, and what the room rewards. If the room awards punching down at gay people, women, and black culture every single night, that's what gets repeated and refined, and what eventually ends up on a stage in front of thousands of people. I started this because I have ADHD and needed to pay attention, because honestly, I couldn't help but zone out like a kid in church again. Sorry, I got bored listening. Nobody is saying don't be funny. We're saying be aware of what you're giving the room permission to feel. I think that Billy Manton, who was a previous podcast guest, what they had said in the comments of this post really puts it nicely. It's nice to see what every minority comic knows is true laid out scientifically. And I don't know if I mentioned this already, but between the part 1 and the part 2, there was a significant decrease in the amount of attention it got. Like, for instance, the first post got 83.8 thousand likes. This one only got 6,590 likes as of the time of recording, 382 comments as opposed to 3,008 comments, 724 reposts as opposed to 4,237, and 1,631 shares as opposed to 10.6 thousand. Fuck, now then, as you just heard me yawn, it is 3:04 a.m. I'm going to try to get like 3 hours of sleep before my shift at work tomorrow. Or I guess today, technically. So, yeah. Stay tuned, because we're going to have that interview. Alright everybody, welcome to this episode's ad segment. I figured right before we get into the interview, what the hell, let's just get this out of the way, shall we? As always, my conversation with AmyBeth was a pleasant one, and I thank her so much for sitting down for the interview with me, and I thank you so much for sitting down and listening to this episode. Alright, let's get into the ads. You can find AmyBeth Castleberry on, I believe, both Instagram and TikTok. I think those are the only two handles that she gave me, at AmyBeth Berry for both of those. You can find me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at CJW_comedy. You can find me on YouTube at simply CJW Comedy. And you can find me on Bluesky at cjwcomedy.bsky.social. Then, of course, you can find the podcast on YouTube, Instagram, and Threads, and TikTok, of course. I keep forgetting the TikTok, at Out Loud Comedy Podcast. AmyBeth is going to have a show at Pinky's Bar in Belton, Texas on May 22nd at 8 p.m. I had to scour Instagram to find the time because Beth did not tell me the time during her little plug at the end of the interview. So if you're in Belton, Texas at 8 p.m., on Friday, May 22nd, get your ass over to Pinky's Bar and just have a good time. Tickets are $10. On the same day this episode airs at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so the day this comes out. If you're listening to this at 7 when it's uploaded, in 5 hours? 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Yeah, in 5 hours from when this episode airs, AmyBeth Castleberry is also going to be doing an Instagram live with Judy Carter Comedy to discuss the same findings that we had in this episode here. As for me, I've got 3 shows coming up. 1 week from today, on the 26th, I will be at the Spokane Comedy Club. It's Newtown Tuesdays, 7 p.m. It's a free show. Check it out. And then the very next day, on the 27th, Wednesday, I will be doing the Never Ending open mic, where me and nearly 70 other comics are all going to have 3-minute time slots, and it's just going to be joke after joke after joke after joke after joke till either we run out of comics or the city shuts us down, one of the two. But yeah, it's going to be a great time. That show's also free as well, so if you got nothing else to do, come on down. And then on June 5th, which coincidentally is also my father's birthday, I'm going to be doing the Pride at the Parkade show, which is in collaboration with M27 M27 Performers Collective. There we go. I don't know why it took me so many takes to say that. Westgard Entertainment, and Downtown Spokane Partnership. All of those are collaborating on the show that we are calling Pride at the Parkade. It is a triple variety show hosted by local drag artist Monster Energy. There's going to be 3 parts of the show. The first part is going to be comedy, where it's going to be Beth Brees, myself, and Jenny Watson, who you may remember as my guest from the very first episode of this podcast. Then the second show is going to be all done by Westgard Entertainment. I'm not entirely sure what it's going to be, but I'm guessing it's going to be something music, maybe kind of like Ren Fairy. It's going to be fun. And then the third part of the show is going to be drag and dancing performances done by The Kai Kai Effect, Mosley Crew, Scarlet Edge, which was a new addition who got added after I made that Instagram post, so whoops. Emma LaTrappe, introducing Elise, and featuring T.S. Loveless. It's going to be happening at the Parkade Plaza right in downtown Spokane. The comedy portion starts at 5:15 p.m., the Westgard Entertainment starts at 6 p.m., and the drag and dancing starts at 7:15. So, and it's also a free show as well. I'm just doing a ton of free shows right now. So yeah, if you just need something to do, come on down, have a good time. And then the last 2 things I want to talk about before we get into the interview is just some bookkeeping stuff. Well, the first thing is, first of all, I have really been dropping the ball on uploading content to the show's Patreon. As far as I'm aware, there's no one currently subscribed to it, so I haven't really been putting any effort into it, but I just got an email today saying that if I do not upload anything to it by June 10th, the Patreon is going to get shut down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to like bust my butt to edit out a bunch of because I think the last thing I uploaded on there was the Chris Jessup episode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and like edit new versions of the episodes to cut out all of the ad segments, so it will just be completely just ad-free content on the Patreon. And the last thing I want to talk about right now is, if you listened to the episode last week, I mentioned that Jonathan Sheffield, the creator, the main actor, and the showrunner for Almost Not Quite, which was an indie-produced sitcom here in Spokane, Washington that I was a part of, he passed away in his sleep on May 2nd. And originally I was going to plug the crowdfunding thing we were doing for the show. But from what I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, so I'm not going to say anything unless I get the go-ahead. But what I will say in regards to the show is nothing. But what I will say in regards to Jonathan Sheffield is that there's currently a GoFundMe live right now to raise funds to help out Jonathan's family. And I'm going to link that into the description, show notes, whatever. And it would really help out if you donated to that, even like $1, anything, just to make sure his family's settled and all the bells and whistles with all that. And I've also been told that some traction has happened with the whole Grand Marshal Award things. I can't really discuss that, but thank you all so much for contributing to that. It really, it warms my heart that we're able to do something for Jonathan, because I feel weird not doing anything. And yeah. Alright guys, that's been it for the ad segment for this episode of Out Loud, a queer comedy podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for listening in. And now let's just get on to that interview with AmyBeth Castleberry. Let's just jump right in. Recording in progress. How's your morning going?
It's going good so far. Just like kind of doing my morning routine like a normal person.
No, I feel that. I just woke up, hopped out of bed, got coffee, and then started my computer to get everything like warmed up and ready to go.
Nice. Yeah. I have to do the same to my body. So I have to like give myself a few hours before work, and I'm drinking coffee too. So yes, I'm joining you in that. But yeah.
All right, so I guess before we start talking about today's topic, I feel like I'm gonna allow you to introduce yourself, because I feel like normally when I do stuff like this, I don't have like a centered topic, and I'm mostly talking with comedians about like you know, like what it's like being like a comedian in this space and like this type of environment that we're in. But because I have like a themed topic today, I feel like things are just gonna be slightly different than what I usually do.
Yeah. So, yeah, my name is Amy Beth. My last name is Castleberry. I go by Amy Beth Berry on Instagram just to shorten it a little bit. But yeah, I've been a comedian for the last 4 years. I started my journey back in Denver, going through a divorce, and wasn't. And I'm originally from Austin, so during that time, it just the path pointed towards going back home, especially after my granny was put in the nursing home and she has dementia. And so with me and my job outside of everything else, like my day job, I work in home health care. So I'm a manager for caregivers who go into homes and are providing care for, various types of clients, mostly elderly people with memory care needs. So I have that. And so I felt like I needed to be nearby. And with kind of the start in comedy, I was like, well, Austin is this quote unquote up and coming scene. I might as well dip my toes into it. Because I'm from here, I have, a lot of Texas pride, as you would imagine. My family is originally from here. Well, not originally, but just like they settled here and were big in the cattle business. So I'm a
Okay.
tried and true Texas legacy here. So when I got back and I started doing comedy, I really questioned if I was going to be a comedian because of the
Right.
scene and how volatile I felt it was becoming.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel the same volatility in Denver, and so it left me with a lot of kind of back and forth confusion. But I don't know if that's like the longest intro you've ever had of someone,
You're good.
but just like kind of a backstory of who I am and what I just like want to make sure that people know like I'm just a real person. Like
Right.
I don't belong to anybody. I'm
Yeah,
just
you're
creative and decided to document this year because I turned 35 this year. And
okay.
so I wanted to, I just wanted to like kind of make this year special. And also, I'm going to be an aunt this year for the first
Oh,
time. So
nice.
it's really exciting to, I want my little niece, Margot, I want her to feel safe in the world that she's coming into. And I don't feel that right now. And
Yeah.
and I don't care what people think about me because I grew up wearing a back brace in middle school. There's really nothing you can throw at me. Life braced me early.
Real.
Well, part of my jokes here, but life braced me early for disappointment and rejection and not and just being misunderstood. So I get those types of things and I identify as bi, as a
Okay.
queer woman. And so as a white woman, especially, I feel like it's my responsibility with all the work that I've done on myself and unlearning, white privilege and those types of
Mm-hmm.
things that it's literally my responsibility to take ownership. Most of my friends, if not all of them, are either queer or people of color or
Yeah.
both. And we have lots of deep conversations about, what's important. So, yeah, that's the background. I don't know how much more I could ramble. Sure, you have questions.
Yeah, I do have better questions. You're good. So one thing, sorry, my partner walked in the room, so I got a little distracted. Sorry, but no. So I guess if we just want to get started right away, so this Instagram post that you made, I read a little bit into it. I know you said that how the whole note taking thing started was just you were trying to find a way to pay attention with like really horrible ADHD, which fucking valid, I feel that. But what kind of caused you to like take these notes and kind of turn it into like a scientific study into like the Austin comedy scene, basically?
So I was just, like I said, I was taking notes to mitigate the ADHD. I
Hmm.
was mainly mitigating the fact that I was going to these places on time, right? Like I'm trying to show up on time, but I
Hmm.
was still late for boys club because all the guys get there and they're in line already and they're ready
Right.
to sign up. And so I'm like mid to last, if not all the time. And so I'm forced to stay because
Hmm.
I've also not made like at that point in the beginning, and I have friends now, but like I didn't have those people like sit with and kind of like kiki with and just like
Yeah.
like in this stupid like I'm just like sitting there like and I grew up going to church and like I
Hmm.
was bored in church. And so what do? You either doodle or you take notes so you don't get in trouble with your parents. Like that's kind of like where my mentality went. And when I shared this with a friend that was with me when I first started because she inspired me. She's
Hmm.
like, "This guy's up here repeating Facebook memes." And I'm like, that's really funny. Like,
Oh,
let me
Jesus
write that
Christ.
down. I was like, let me write down all the wild things that are being said tonight. And then I was like, wait a minute, I should do this more and more. And then by the third time I ended up, I was at one of my favorite open mics here, and
Hmm.
that's women led. And I was doing the same thing, and I like did a shot of it, the list, and then I panned up to the man, and he was talking about effing his mom, like in the
Whoa.
video. In the video, dude, I can go find this. I need to find this because it's wild, like the
Holy
original.
shit.
And
If
I got
you
a lot of feedback from that Instagram story. And one of my dear friends, who's also a comedian here, she's a surgeon tech, a traveling surgeon tech, smart, smart, smart person. And she
uh-huh.
was like, dude, you need to turn that into a reel. And I was like, I can't just do one list. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to go hard. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to come up with more lists. I don't know how many I'm going to get, but I'm gonna at least get 10. and I'm going to go from there. Because at that point, I had gone to 20 open mics because I was just trying to count. I was just trying to keep myself accountable because I hadn't really done that before. And I'm like, we're going to try this. We're going to go for it. Right. And then I started documenting, and then I really started documenting what was happening. And then I turned it into something and I started gathering all this information and I was like, holy shit. And I'm like sharing this with my friends. Like one of my dear friends in Denver, she's a comedian. Her name is Sammy. And she and I were just like, we have to figure out a way to make this viral. And so I went through and my friend Leslie, who originally told me I should do this, I was like, okay, I got my list. And she said, okay, what you need to do is go through and rewrite them out in a, with your pretty handwriting, make sure it all looks nice. Cause of course it's chicken scratch. I'm in the
Right,
dark,
right,
right?
right.
I'm like, homophobia,
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. So,
And so I went through and I rewrote all the lists and I kind of categorized them as I went because some of them were just like straight, like this is racism, this is this, just going through.
uh-huh.
And ended up coming up with the 80 different topics that were talked about, 40 different kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
categories. And I took pictures of all of them and uploaded them to Claude AI. And I said, put me a report together that shows like this is what I'm going for, this is what I did,
Mm-hmm.
like gave it a very clear idea of my goal to show. And
I see. Okay. So
so
you weren't like using AI to like generate it for you. You were just using AI
no,
as like a tool to
to
organize
create the
all your
report.
notes. Yeah. Okay.
Literally that. And so in that I was like able to come up with like this is what it is. Like just basically here's all the information. But
Mm-hmm.
Claude, it was so amazing the way that it came up with this report for me. I was screaming when it spit out a website style, graphs, charts, everything I needed. And I was like, I'm onto something here. I was like literally screaming. Like I couldn't have like I cannot
My
exaggerate
God.
that because it was just like this is gonna be crazy if I put this out. And so I was also like that week, I was a little under medicated. I hadn't had my
Mm-hmm.
Lexapro in like a week and it was
Oof.
starting to give
Oh
me
no.
it was starting
Bad
to give me the
girl. Bad
brain
girl.
zaps.
Take
I
that
know, I know,
Lexapro.
I know.
Take that Lexapro.
I know ADHD is so bad. Okay. And so uh I was under medicated and a little manic. So I put this together like a mad scientist in my lab is just like ha 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 ha. This is
Oh my God.
crazy. And like, yeah, AI helped me organize all of my thoughts, but like it was all
Mm-hmm.
mine. Everything is
Yeah.
mine. And I think if we're gonna use these, if these tools are gonna be made, then let's use them to
Mm-hmm.
the maker's detriment. I don't care. Like, let's burn it down. I don't belong to anyone. I have all the privilege in the world
Mm-hmm.
to be able to do this, and I will use it to help people because I have nothing to lose. I have nothing to lose. So I'm
Yeah.
already in debt. If I had as many dollars as I had followers, I'd be out of debt. And that's just the
Real. So
truth.
fucking real. Oh my God.
But yeah, that's kind of how it started, and then I posted it. And
Mm-hmm.
when I posted it, I was strategic in posting at like a time of evening that I know most people are going to be on their phones.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like evening, and I saw it was getting traction pretty quickly, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. And then my younger brother, he's kind of
Uh-huh.
like my Rottweiler out there in the comment section. And he
Mm-hmm.
had commented something, and so he was like checking in. He was like, "Bro, your post is getting like more and more traction." And I'm
Your
like,
post is
"Okay,
doing numbers right now. Yeah.
I know." I'm like, "I gotta go to bed." And so I go to bed and I wake up and the first text I read is from my bro, and he's like, "Your post is blowing up." And I go and there's like already like hundreds of comments, likes. I've got all these new followers. Like, in the last when did I post that? That was on the
The
29th.
yeah, I was gonna say yeah, 29th.
So almost 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, like when I posted this, I had 1,600 followers, 1,600 followers. I
Mm-hmm.
have 16,000 followers.
Yeah, that was gonna be
Yeah.
my next question
What the heck?
did you expect this to blow the fuck up the way that it did? Like
Mm-mm.
were you intending to
Mm-mm.
cause like a social media fucking like storm basically?
No,
Like on
no,
in the
no, and
comedy scene.
I'm
Yeah.
not surprised.
Yeah.
No, like it's like, no, I didn't expect it to. And also, I'm not surprised because when I've been in these spaces and I'm talking to my friends who are queer, who are women, who
Mm-hmm.
don't feel safe in the scene, or who feel like they're around this like energy that just doesn't feel right. And
Yeah.
I'm a very highly sensitive person. I'm also very intuitive, and I can read a room probably better than most people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt it every time I left. Every time I left, and I was having these conversations about, like, ew, can you believe this guy getting up here and glorifying pedophilia? Are you freaking kidding me?
Right. Jesus Christ,
Or
yeah.
like a guy gets up there. This literally happened at an open mic I was at.
Mm-hmm.
A guy got up there and said, "Who in here likes to be racist?" And most of the room goes, "Woo!" And it was all men. I'm not joking. This is serious shit. So, like, when I saw this happening in my hometown, I said, I have too much pride for this kind of bullshit to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Enough is enough. And if everyone's going to come in here and try and do comedy and complain about it, I'm gonna do something about it. I'm so
Right.
tired of sitting around and complaining when I have all this privilege and probably a bigger truck than most of these dudes that have a lower credit score than me. I don't fucking care what they think about me if I say something because their opinion doesn't not matter to me. I'm way too cool, I'm way too hot, I'm way too funny to care. And I sleep good at night. I go at night. So
My,
like I
oh
was
my.
like, yeah.
Sorry, my brain is still processing someone at an Austin open mic just walking in and going, "Hey, who likes to be
I know.
racist?" What?
And that's not the worst I've seen. That's
Liberalandia,
not the
Washington
worst.
State could never. What the fuck?
I
Oh
know
my
I was
God.
like when I first got back from Denver and I started going to these mics, I clutched my pearls. Like I was upset knowing that there were people and women out there making jokes about trans people that they
Hmm.
had no business saying shit about.
Right.
Like you have no authority to speak on these things and you're trying to make them funny because it's edgy, but you look like a piece of shit. That's what you look like to me.
Oh
You're
my
not
God.
funny, you're a piece of shit, and you're just like, oh, I just can come out to these open mics and say whatever I want because I have my rights. And I'm like, yeah, but your words are power. They're spells. You know what?
Yeah.
Words are so much more powerful than people. They're just like, I'm just saying stuff. Just the lyrics to these music. No, these things mean something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was like the person who put this out intentionally, who's out here intentionally do this means something to them.
Yeah.
And I went to church this Bible verse, and I'm sorry to quote Bible stuff here, but
No,
like
you're good. You're good. Go off. Go off.
I believe this saying to be true. There's this verse that says, "Out of the heart, the mouth speaks." And I
Mm-hmm.
believe that what's in here is coming out of your mouth. And if you're spewing it out and it's nasty, you're not really a fun person to be around. You're probably the worst person to be at parties with. Like, I don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
around you if that's the kind of humor that you think is funny. Like, I've always learned since the beginning to punch up and punch not
Yes.
punch down. And if you're gonna punch on someone that you have no authority speaking over, talk shit about yourself too.
Yeah. Like they're like in comedy as I've been doing this, what I learn is that like there is a balance of like fucking like when you're doing like these types of fucking jokes, you need to like one make it funny, which it doesn't sound like any of them are doing.
Yeah, they're not. It's not. It's I and at this one, these are kind of the stories that I need people to know is there
Hmm.
was this one time I was at the Creek and the Cave, and this is a very popular spot here in Austin. It's right
Okay.
downtown, it's right off of I-35. A lot of people that are visiting stay in hotels nearby. They're looking for things to do, and a lot of people come out to these places expecting, oh my gosh, this Austin comedy scene I keep hearing about, and blah 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 blah. Like, and then
Yeah.
they come out, and I've watched this happen where patrons will come in from out of town or they're visiting, or like a older woman with her mom, like two older women come in, and they'll just be like appalled at what they're
Yeah.
hearing. And I've seen people leave. I've seen people look at each other disgusted. And this is like not at just open mics, but at some of these shows. Like, And I've heard these people say, like, I'm listening, I'm paying attention because I'm hyper vigilant. So I'm listening to them say, hey, I'm just here from out of town. I just want to see some comedy or want to take my mom out. Like,
Yeah.
these people are expecting an experience and they're getting
Shit on. Like,
yeah, yeah, and they're getting and like I've so many screenshots of comments I went through yesterday because I'm working on part three of this whole series right now.
oh my God.
Is like
Ooh,
the in real the real life impact and talking about people who leave. And I have so many people in my comments and in my DMs that are saying, this is why I won't do comedy anymore. This is why I won't go to these free comedy things. This is why I won't go support open mics. This is why, but like I've had two venues tell
mm-hmm.
me either in person or in a DM that they stopped doing open mics because it was bad for business.
Ooh,
Because it was
okay.
bad for business. And this is what I'm going to point out in part three is like, this is not just like a culture problem. This is a business problem.
Mm-hmm.
This is contributing to, like to violence. Hello. Like this is making people who have important things to say quit early. Cause I almost quit.
Yeah.
If I would have started comedy in Austin as a woman, I would have quit 6 months in because that's how unsafe I would have felt. And I tried to make friends. I tried to,
Yeah.
but I'm also like kind of iffy about everyone because it's the comedy scene and there's a lot of unhealed people in the space that like to use this as
Mm-hmm.
their trauma dumping where they haven't processed it and they're processing it in real time. And
Mm-hmm.
like I'm a healed person and so like I'm just like very like wary of like who I let in, you know?
Right.
And I've been able to find the gyms. There's the gyms here. Of course, I have
Right.
the girls that I'm like forming a girl gang with, and
Mm-hmm.
plan to actually do a group chat. I had girls reaching out being like, "Is there actually a group chat?" And I was like, that's a concept of a plan, but
That's a
but I'll
concept of a plan.
but
It's
I'll
a
definitely
concept of a plan. That's
exactly. Yeah, but I will, but I plan to actually put that one in place because I know it's important and it's something I tried to do before, but
you
again, like you have to
definitely
find the right people.
I think you definitely should because it sounds like y'all fucking need that. Holy shit. That's fucking wild. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be a girl group only because it'll have to
As it should.
be,
As it should.
it should be like if you're a gay or a boy and you need to go find your own stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think
Love you.
there already
Mm,
is like an Austin queer comedian group chat that is on Instagram actually. Uh,
okay.
because I did a another podcast with another queer Austin comic, Holden. Don't know if you know them. Um, I did a podcast episode with them, and then they invited me to the queer Austin comic group chat on Instagram.
Okay, okay. Well,
So yeah, like
see,
they have their own group chat.
that's the thing is like I'm still figuring out where these little niches and
Hmm.
safe groups are, and it's been a lot harder to find. I felt like I mean, maybe because I'm just like not as like I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I try to be nice and people take it like, why are you talking to me? And I'm
Right,
like,
right.
I'm literally from the South. My name is Amy Beth. I'm a Southern girl. I'm gonna say hello. Like, you can't
Yeah,
stop me. It was just how I was raised. Like,
right.
be nice. And it's just been harder to break through, which is kind of a surprising piece because, being from here, I feel like I belong here, but I've also
Hmm.
felt uh, like I'm definitely not for the straight male ear. Every
Right.
time I go to an open mic, like even just I had two shows last week, killed,
Hmm.
killed.
Hmm.
I crushed it. Everybody was laughing. I had boom, 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 laughs after laughs. And I'm not exaggerating.
Right. No, no, no.
But I go to these open mics and it's mostly these, anxious white comics, white male comics, straight white
Hmm.
male comics, and they're not laughing at all. Like I went to the Cold Town mic on Friday night and I took a friend that was visiting from Denver and she got to see the underbelly of what I'm talking about, clutching the pearls. And then also when we both got up there, we're both hilarious and we're getting the least amount of laughs.
Wow. Interesting.
And we're like, I thought, I mean, but then we go out and we do shows or we have a hot crowd that's like maybe half is like non-comics. And
Right.
that's hard to find around here with an open mic.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I think that's just open mics in general, is that 90% of open mics are just comedians trying to try out new material. So it's like
but
you're
do we
not
but do
sorry.
we think, can we think like, is that a business problem? Is that because of what's happening? Like, is
Mm,
the open mic scene the way it is because of the current culture and like what's acceptable? Like,
Hmm.
because I feel like it not like what I'm hearing about the pre-pandemic Austin comedian scene or comedy scene is that it was
Mm-hmm.
popping. Like people were going to open mics, these places were full. And after everything went down and Comedy Mothership made its land here, down on
Okay.
6th Street, things really changed and a lot of people started moving here for comedy just to pursue that Kill Tony lifestyle. Like
Yeah.
it's like Kill Tony feels like the goal of many comedians that I come across. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, no,
He's
like
such,
what
why?
like here the only exposure I have to Kill Tony is that I will put on YouTube while I go to sleep, and my YouTube algorithm will automatically put on Kill Tony while I'm asleep. I am unconsciously subjected to Kill Tony. That is my only
I don't know if
experience
that's a
with
good
Kill Tony.
thing.
It's not. It's not. It's completely fucked up my YouTube algorithm. But like I don't understand like I get it if like your goal is fame. Like I can get like if that's why you want to be on Kill Tony, but like if you're genuinely just like looking for like a good like if you're in it for the comedy and you're in it for like the love of the game, no one would ever go to fucking Kill Tony, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I watch my women friends who haven't decentered men, and I watch my Black and people of color friends who go up there feeling like that's part of the thing here. And I'm just like, but does it really have to be?
Right.
Like I was concerned that that would have to be my path because I was like, is that the only way to get around out here? Because like honestly,
Hmm.
like I'm out here enough to be seen and do funny stuff, and I'm not getting booked. And yet
Right.
now that I'm like being getting visible, I've got 3 bookings this month alone, like real quick,
Yeah,
like,
that's
and it's just like whose dick do I need to suck to get on stage?
no,
You know?
I feel
Like,
that so fucking hard. I feel that.
because like,
Like
and I've said that jokingly,
mhm.
but like,
like
where's the end?
something I've never talked about on stage, but I will talk about with other comedians in my area, is that like it's like booking is such a catch 22 because it's like for instance like no places will ever book you because like you don't like do the numbers on social media, but it's like okay, how do I do the numbers on social media? Oh, you got to post like like content and like footage of you doing like your stand up, and I'm like okay, well how do I get content and post footage of me doing stand up? It's like well you got to book more shows. Okay, but how do I book shows?
Yeah,
Well,
because
you
you
need to
don't
do
want to
numbers on
film
social
open,
media.
and you don't want to film open mics.
Yeah, like when you're only getting open mics and you're not getting any bookings, open mics are your only option. And it's
Right.
and it
Exactly. Exactly.
but it's like I said, open mics, like the audience is like mostly just other comedians, so it's like the laughs that you get are either from like the few rare like actual people in the audience, or you said something that like a comedian laughed at. Because like 95% of the time you won't get any laughs, and then when you get off stage they'll start giving you constructive criticism about your set. At
Yeah.
least that's what I hope it's going on in Austin. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like they don't do that shit.
I felt I don't feel like I've written better jokes because of the people I'm around. I've only
Yeah.
written better jokes because of the experiences that I've had and the conversations that I've had.
Hmm.
And I do writing groups with other people that are not
Yeah.
here. Like
Like
I have
that's so real.
like I have a virtual writing group with the girls that ran an open mic. We ran an open mic in Denver together. It was called Mental Gelato. We did it for a year and we still keep in contact. And at least three of us who are seriously, seriously pursuing comedy, we still write together. And like me and my friend Sammy, we body double like every week. Like, and so we're just having these silly conversations and she's a comedian and we're just riffing off each other because we're
Hmm.
just friends and silly. So it turns
Right.
into like these amazing jokes that actually work on stage and like that's how I feel like I've been able to grow. But like I grew a lot in Denver because there was a lot of opportunities for like writing groups and like I miss, you know, the Wednesday night thing that Christy Buckley, I don't know if she still does this, but she
Uh,
does a writing workshop on Wednesdays there at Rise Comedy.
oh, okay.
And that's what I was going to like go up and do. You get like a few minutes and then the comedians give you feedback on how to make things better. That I can't tell you how much that helped me just having that positive feedback, right? It wasn't like judgy. It was like, okay, we're gonna help each other be better.
Hmm.
And I felt that way pretty much in every like room I was in. It was very rare that I felt like I didn't belong in the room. But Denver is just a very different, special place too.
Right,
I
right.
mean, obviously for, you know, political reasons, it just is a safer place for people like people with purple hair and queer people and
Right.
to exist. But yeah, that I don't know what question that was that we were just talking about
You're good.
how I got, I don't know, learning.
You're good. I did have a question in my back pocket that like my own ADHD made me completely forget for a minute. But fucking so like you'd mentioned a little bit ago that like the vibe of Austin comedy was totally different like pre-COVID, and it is like 2020 2021 is when like Joe
Hmm.
Rogan moved
Hmm.
in. Do you think like the move of like the Joe Rogan experience and like Kill Tony, like do you think that I wouldn't want to say that it ruined the Austin comedy scene, but it is what made the Austin comedy scene what it is today?
Absolutely, I agree. And I lived here during the pandemic before
Hmm.
I moved back. We moved back to Denver because, you know, pandemic stuff. And I didn't sense that until after I left, and then I saw this growth there that people in Denver were talking about.
Hmm.
But honestly, I was kind of surprised at what was happening because, like, I was like, isn't Joe Rogan the Fear Factor guy? Like, I didn't
Yeah.
even
Oh my
know
God.
he did stand up. I didn't even know he did stand up. And then I go look at his stand up and it's awful.
Yeah.
It's not even
Here's the
good.
thing. I didn't even fucking know Joe Rogan did stand up. I just knew that he did a podcast that like a bunch of like dude bros listened to,
Yeah,
and people thought he
yeah.
was such hot shit. And then it's like I found out he was the Fear Factor guy, and then I found out that my a family member of mine, I'm not gonna say it on the podcast, I'm gonna bleep it out, who worked in like like Hollywood for like 30 years, worked on Fear Factor, like under Joe Rogan, and they told me so many just scandalous things about Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I think that anyone that grifts real hard
Hmm.
on human emotion is not to be trusted.
Oh, absolutely not.
I think it's cool that he has different types of people on his podcast. Good for you, but like
Like no.
we don't need any more Napoleon style men, you
Hmm.
know, coming in and trying to say stuff like enough, enough. I'm
Right.
over it. Yeah, but absolutely, it had a huge impact and
Like
one I didn't expect, I guess, moving back home.
it was, I will say, it was very cathartic for me that Joe Rogan, I think it was like last year, or the year before, put out a Netflix special. And if you watch the special, he is just bombing for an entire hour. And it got so bad that he just started pulling out some like old jokes that he hasn't used in like 10 years that he already used on like previous comedy albums. Like just because he was bombing that hard that he was like, let me play the hits, let me play the hits. Like what like
Oh.
seeing the fear in his eyes, I think was very cathartic for
And they
me.
still put it on
Yeah,
Netflix?
they still put it on Netflix, yeah.
I don't have Netflix to go and view the tragedy, but
Yeah, no,
yeah,
yeah, but it was so sad. It was so sad.
dang,
But
dang, yeah, absolutely.
yeah. But fucking like, do you have any hope that like something's gonna happen and the Austin comedy scene is gonna get back to what it was before the Joe Rogan heads moved in?
Well, I can tell you that when I go to these open mics now, that there is a shift happening when I hear certain types of jokes and
Mm-hmm.
people like jokes that we don't want to hear, like the
Right.
ones I pointed out. Like there was quite a few that didn't get laughs and more got like, and I was
Yeah.
like, yay! In my head, right?
Like
And
in
I,
like
ugh.
like like from when you did that 1 week post update, it was like 600,000 people had seen your post at that point. Lord knows how many have seen it since then. I see you pulling out your phone and checking checking
I
right
want to
now.
look because now I'm
Oh,
curious.
yeah, I'm curious too. I need to know.
It's at this point we have over 737,000 people that have seen it, and it's
Okay.
had 1.2 million views.
One
Yeah.
1.2 million views.
Yeah, and and like the saves on here are ridiculous too. Like there have been almost 10,000 saves, 12,000 shares, and 4.7 reposts, 4.7 thousand reposts.
Oh my
I
fucking
can't even
God.
keep up anymore.
Oh, holy shit, that's insane to me. Like,
In this short a time, it's incredible. I used to do social media influencing back in the day when I was vegan and I thought I was better than everyone. And
mm-hmm.
I would have dreamed of numbers like this back in the day. And this is just like, whoa,
So real.
okay. So yeah,
Oh my
it's
God, like that's fucking crazy, I have to say. Like that's fucking crazy. Um, have since doing that post around Austin, have you started getting recognized?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And booked because I'm funny
Yeah.
and women want me to be on their shows.
Oh,
Um,
please.
and yeah, I'm work there's some really fun things in the works. Like I was surprised to see certain celebrities follow me on social media, like Janelle James from Abbott Elementary, the principal, and then
Oh,
yeah, and Ashley Gavin, the queer lesbian comic, she just followed me back today.
oh my
I
God.
have
Ashley Adams a big
uh
get.
I know.
I'd
And
love
then
to
I
have her.
had I need to remember her name. It starts with an M, Medea. Oh my gosh, I'm totally butchering this like a white girl. But Delaware politician slash comedian reached out to me and wants to meet me and meet some of her non-comic friends when she's here in June. So she gave me her phone
Wow.
number and we're friends.
Oh my holy shit.
So that's why I'm like, yeah, there's a shift happening. And I think I'm the perfect person to do it. I don't belong to anyone. So
Honestly, that's so real. Oh my God.
the
That's
outlaw we always needed. Good thing
well,
my parents got me black cowboy boots and a cowgirl hat for Christmas because
oh
it's coming
good.
in handy.
Good,
Yes,
because I think that's gonna be your image soon.
it is. I'm using it on stage and I'm using it in
Hmm.
my social media posts to kind of create like that outlaw branding
Hmm.
because it's kind of perfect. So yeah, I'm proud of it.
Good. Well, I'm glad to see that all of this newfound fame hasn't gone to your head yet. I'm glad to see that that's
Hey, I've watched enough documentaries about kid stars to know what happens, okay?
yeah.
I took notes too. I'm not gonna let that, I have a lot of grounding people and things I love to do in my life to let it get to my head.
Yeah, wow, just oh my God, wow. I'm seeing that we have 3 minutes left in this Zoom call. God, I can't at right now I can't think of anything else to ask you. But do you so I'm gonna do my best to get this out 1 week from today.
Okay.
Do you have any upcoming shows, anything you want to plug right now? Plug all your
Yeah,
socials, plug your shows, do that right now.
absolutely. Yeah, so absolutely follow me on Instagram. That's where I post all my comedy stuff. I also post like my art stuff on TikTok. It's both the same,
Hmm.
Amy Beth Berry. But speaking of my art, I started, and I had planned to do this before all this went down, but like I started doing art back in April, and now I'm selling notebooks with my art on them. So you can
Yeah.
find them, the link in
Mhm.
my bio. There's pockets in the
Oh
back.
my God, a notebook with
And then
pockets.
I have a show coming up in Belton at Pinky's, the
Hmm.
Pinky's bar there, and that's on May 22nd. That's a Friday. So that's my next show. I have a couple of different interviews coming up in this month too, and Instagram lives that I'm doing with some fun people. So yeah, those will be posted on my socials too. But yeah, that's kind of all the things I really need to promote. I'm just excited to see what happens.
I'm also excited to see what happens. Like this is opening a lot of doors for you. This is crazy. This
I hope so. And I hope it opens doors for others. And that's why, when you're the first one to reach out about interviewing me, and I'm like, I'm gonna jump on this. I'm gonna give this to people while I can because
hmm
I have this space right now. And I want to like give back as much as I can while I can, and I'll continue to do that in different ways. But my time is precious, and I want to
Yes.
give people space to hear me, but also to be supported because I
Yeah.
support my friends, my queer people, my love so much, and want everyone to feel that way.
All right, now how do you feel about me using the clickbaity title of the truth about the Austin comedy scene when I upload this podcast episode?
Go for it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and I'll share it too.
Oh
I'll make
man.
sure to share it on my story and stuff. So
Man, well, thank you so much for that. And also thank you for taking time out of your day to sit down with me. Like
absolutely.
this was a great interview.
Absolutely. Yes. And we should do a part two when things change. And yeah, we'll talk in the DMs. I'm excited to keep talking.
Yeah, no, like a month from now we'll do a part two just to
Yes.
see what's happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. Let's do it.
All right, hell yeah. All right, well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. See you around.
See ya.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Hope you tune into the next one. Please do me a favor and check out the show notes. There you're going to find our guest's social media as well as the stuff of my own that I'm plugging. I would like to give a shout out to my friend Morningstar for being the one to actually make the profile image for this podcast. Do you know of any other queer comedians that I should contact to see if I can get on this podcast? Let me know and I'll see if I can hunt them down. My name is Corbin Willmorth. Thank you for listening, and as a reminder, make sure you don't keep your head on straight.